Welcome to another episode of my Stitch Diaries. Now my name is Claire and I run two series of videos on YouTube, one called the Doll Diaries and one called the Stitch Diaries, and today is the Stitch Diaries. Now I did put a nice homemade jumper, a sewn jumper on for you today, but unfortunately because of time I've had to take it off and get into my gym wear because I'm going to a yoga class at my new gym, and I've been held up by my family. You know, my husband came back, he's on the phone, and I've had to basically shoo him out the house to do this video because I would get no peace. So my middle son's at home, but yes, I haven't got a huge amount of time to do this video now. So hopefully what I'm planning is to film now and hopefully edit when my husband goes to tennis later on this evening. That's the plan. So anyway, right, now I did have a book of all the things I wanted to show you. It's regarding knitting, sewing, crochet. So there's going to be finished things, works in progress, things that have arrived, you know, my usual kind of thing. And I did have a list, but unfortunately I can't find it. But I'm just going to have to try and remember everything. So where shall I start? So things that have arrived through the post. Now, remember me telling you I'm in a Patreon, Sincerely Louise, and it's a knitting. It's called Knit the Year. For £5 a month, I get a pattern every month. And I could upgrade so I get the yarn as well, but we do get the opportunities to purchase the yarn as well along the way. We get a sneaky peek, and if we order before 12, I haven't done that. That's what she did this month anyway, but I ordered after, but I've basically got the one for the first month now. So actually I'll pop a photograph up on the screen. I have taken one of the Happy Mail, and I've got it here. So, and it is to make the cat. Now, I'm going to knit the cat slightly different. I'm not going to do as much white on the feet and things because I'm going to try and make it look close to one of my cats, Bella. And I'm going to knit it for my middle son, who is cat crazy. Now, I did show you last week that the one for February is sealed with a kiss, and it's a seal with an envelope. Now, I haven't bought the yarn for that. I would have liked to, but as I say, I can't have everything I want. And the intention with this was that I was just going to join for the year and get the patterns. And then that was that. So yeah, I didn't foresee how much I might want to buy the yarn. But anyway, I did get the yarn because I could really see a good use for this. For knitting it for my my middle son. And because I make a lot of things, don't I, for my youngest. But yeah, we get all like the eyes, we get a needle. I'm not sure what the black yarn is for, but maybe it's sewing up and things. But we get these mini skeins that have been dyed. There's the dyers, they're called Big Knitters, and they dye these mini skeins, and I think it's double knit from what I know. Yes, it's double knit, and they're 420 gram skeins, and it's 100% superwash merino. And yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? So yes, we're going to have a look at Bella Cat, and I think the pink is for the hat. And I don't know if I'm going to be knitting the hat actually, because Bella hasn't got a hat, and the stuffing. So yes, that's on. I'm in no rush to make that. It's just as and when. Maybe I'll get it knitted for Christmas or something. Who knows? So anyway, I'll pop that aside. Now, moving on to Patreon again. Now, in my last video, I mentioned that I'd joined another Patreon and the reason why, and I will remind you of that. Now, the Patreon is for, it's Effie, EFI, Effie Little Things, and I purchased her miniature mouse pattern, Minnie Mouse sewing pattern, and tutorial, it says. So it's not a video tutorial, it's just like, you know, shows you how to make it inside. And I made two of the mice, and I'll share a photograph on the screen. I will get them out again, but those are the two mice I made from this pattern, and that was actually the third mouse pattern I tried. Now, I really liked the little dress that the mouse is in. And I asked her, has she got a pattern for it? She said if I join her Patreon, her basic Patreon tier, which is £3 a month, then it's on there. But it actually isn't a pattern. It's basically a piece of paper and you're drawing around the mouse, and it turns out they're not removable. You kind of cinch them in with embroidery thread, but I want my clothes to be removable. So I have actually drafted a pattern, not using that tutorial, for another mouse, but I've yet to cut any fabric out, but I've just got a pattern piece drew up, which is nice. So anyway, so I thought, well, I've joined this Patreon, what else can I get? Now you may see some photographs. Right, I might not have a photograph of everything, but I'll share the ones I have got photographs for. Now, Effie Little Things mainly has 55-inch animal patterns, different animals, and they're 55 inches tall. And basically, well, I don't think it really matters what size your animal is or whatever you're dressing, but there was a tutorial, it's called a sewing lesson, and it was how to construct trousers with bodies made of two sides. So if you've got a toy that's made with just two-sided, it's just how you draft a pair of trousers for that toy. So no pattern, you draft it yourself using measurements, and it just shows you. I've got it in a little folder here. So that was one of the things I could get on my £3 tier. There was also how to make Russian felted boots without felting, and it says you need 100% wool felt fabric, and it's just to make little felt boots for little animals. And she's done some little embroidery on there, and again I think you're self-drafting them, there's no pattern, so which is good in a way. It's good that you're doing the self-drafting yourself, because then you can do it for any, can't you? So, and then another thing I found, I basically got everything. There's nothing I didn't get. There is a higher tier that I could have subscribed to, but I'm just on the £3 one, and I haven't cancelled it as of yet anyway. So maybe I could upgrade it before the next one goes out, and maybe have a look at some of the other things on there. So the next one is, it's a Victorian pull and push along duck. It's a duck toy inspired by Christmas ornament sewing pattern. I'm just reading what it says. That's what the title says. It's basically a duck on wheels, and if I can find a photograph of that finished for you, I'll pop that up there. Then the next one, now this, gosh, you need plenty of paper and ink. I nearly had a bit of a heart attack. I think this was like 29 pages or something, and I nearly had a bit of a heart attack once I'd sent it to print. I thought, oh my goodness, but I did it, and I think it was because of the instructions, and it's easy steps to make a primitive mushroom quilted fir tree and star for a Christmas linen garland. There is the photograph. I don't know if I've got any photographs on the iPad. I can't see any, but obviously there's a photograph here, and you've got like the templates and things. I don't know if you can see that through, but yeah, so I could make that garland. But I really quite like the look of that, actually. I just thought I'm going to get everything, you know, while I'm a Patreon. Now, I think, now I don't know if this is available. I think you might have to be on the higher tier of Patreon to get this. So I'm going to pop a photograph on the screen that I've definitely got, and you are going to be seeing a badger and a frog. So basically, in the tier that I'm in, you can make the frog. I have got all the pieces to make it, basically, so I could make him, which is lovely. Now, I don't think I can make the badger on that tier, and I don't think it's a pattern you can buy off of Etsy, but what I did get on my tier is a variation on the style of arms, because there's different ways you can put arms on toys. You can sew them in the shoulder, you can sew them in the side seam, you can attach them after. There's all different ways. So I think these are some variations. So I believe Please excuse me if I've got that wrong, but that's what I believe I've got here. Right, then, now this is a slight waste of time. I have got sizes for a mum, a dad, an older child and a younger child, and for a pixie outfit basically. It's quite a basic top for a pixie family, and the trousers for mum and dad and children, the pixie trousers. Now, there is no pattern for the pixies I can purchase from Effie Little Designs Etsy shop. And I can't access the pixies with my tier. However, if I upgraded my Patreon, I would have patterns for pixies, and then these would be of use. But I'm guessing her pixies are like 55cm ones, like her animals. This is a presumption, so maybe these would fit her animals as well. Now, I'm not entirely sure who you'd use this for, but it is a bonnet for her stuffed toys, and it's to make a deer bonnet. So I'm guessing that if I just pop up the badger and the frog, maybe you had made the badger or the frog, this is what I'm guessing, and you wanted to make a bonnet for them at Christmas that's like got deer ears on it. I think that's what it is, but please correct me if I'm wrong, or I'm so very sorry, Effie Little Things, I'm getting that wrong, but that is another thing I got free. So I just basically, I don't know how much of these things I'm going to make, but I just basically got everything I could for the price I paid. Now I can show you a photograph of this. Actually, I can show you two photographs. Now it's absolutely delightful. Now you may see a little woolen stocking with a candy cane coming out of it, and it looks like a little deer or fawn or something. Let me have a look. So yes, and I have got the shapes. Is there anything on the back? Yeah, so basically it looks fabulous. I haven't got any instructions or anything. That's all I've got, the shapes to make that. But I think it's one of those you'd have to refer to the photograph. You'd need some stripy fabric, some grey wool felt, and something colour for the deer and things, and some red embroidery. But I think I'm really seriously considering. I'm not saying I'm not going to make any of these. I really like the look of these as well, but I think I'm really going to make that for Christmas. That's what I'd really like to do. Now the next one, now I've got various photographs actually. I've got 4 I can show you. So I'll start putting these up on the screen, and I think these are delightful. And it's to make a mini pear decoration. Now they are quite mini because I've got the template here, and here it is. And it's quite small, isn't it? But isn't it lovely? And I think there's a lot of symbolism around pears, because she's foreign. She's from the Soviet Union, the designer, so she's going to have different traditions and things. And yeah, if you look up, you know, the meaning of the forbidden fruit, I've seen all kind of things. So maybe it's a Christmas related thing. It might not be Christmas, it might be just an anytime decoration, but there you go. Well, anyway, if I turn this over, I haven't got a photograph of this, but unless I can find one on her Patreon, but I found this template, and it's to make a Christmas tree version. And isn't it lovely? You can just imagine, couldn't you, in that style of fabric and things that the pear is in. That would make a lovely Christmas decoration, wouldn't it? So yeah, I'm quite keen on that. Now this next one did inspire me to eat something. And I have eaten it before, like, do you know, when I've been out places, I've had it like mashed up and things. I've had it on a bagel and things. Well, and I'm sure I've bought avocado in the past, but I actually recently bought an avocado and I sliced it up and I put it on some nice sesame seed crisp breads. I put a teaspoon of maple syrup over the top. I sprinkled a teensy bit of sea salt and a few chilli flakes. I had some salad on the side, and it was really, really nice. There are quite a lot of calories in our avocados, eating a whole avocado to yourself. So you do have to be quite mindful what you don't have something too calorific with it. But yes, but this, just seeing this, I really want, and I saw one in Lidl. and it was actually a small one, and it was a one you could buy on its own, and it was ready to eat. So yeah, it was great. In Aldi, where I do most of my shopping these days, they were medium and large, and they was in like multiple packets and things. Yeah, so I didn't end up buying it anymore. But yes, it's to make an avocado, and it'd be a really good one for Valentine's Day actually, because it will have a heart in the middle of its tummy instead of a stone. If you've ever seen them, I haven't got a photograph unless I can find one, but I don't seem to have one here. It has a stone. When you cut it in half, it has a stone in the middle, but this has got a heart, and it's got avocado you embroider onto it. So that's the feet and the arms, and that's the avocado, and that's got a dart in it there, so it will have some shaping. So there's no instructions as far as I know, but yeah, they wouldn't be too difficult to figure out to make, would they? Especially if you've got some experience in your applique and toy making and things like that. So yeah, I'm pretty confident I could make those with no instructions anyway. So that is my Patreon with Effie things, and somebody was asking me about the pattern for those mice, and that was it. Effie little things. Let me remind myself. Minnie Mouse sewing pattern and tutorial, and apparently they're approximately 16 centimetres, and the skill level is beginner to advanced apparently. So there you go. Now where do we go to next? So I will be going back to mice because I've made some more mouse related things, but I'm going to skip to some knitting now and maybe some crochet. So now you will be aware that I am using this was what I got from the wool warehouse actually. It was kind of a Christmas present to myself, and it's the Norwegian wool, and it's to make Arnie and Carlos's mini Nordic sweaters for Advent. Now I'm really sorry, I'm really on it at the moment with knitting these, so it might be you see a little bit more each time, so I hope you don't mind. Yeah, I hope you don't get too bored of this, but yeah, I finished another one. So you saw a little bit of, let me get the picture. Yes, you saw this picture that of the yarn that I'm using. It's cappuccino on the right and golden nugget on the left, and I finished the sweater. And it's here, number 3. And it's lovely, isn't it? Now, what I'm absolutely loving about these, now I'll just pop on actually the number 2 on the screen on the side. I've got a photograph. I haven't photographed this yet actually. You can see the designs, they're different. So on every single one basically. So I know actually I've got it here, I don't even need to show you a photograph, but yeah, all the designs are different, and that's number 1. So yeah, so they're really interesting. It's basically like playing a game. That's what I described to my husband about these. I just can't put them down. I just love them. Yeah, so and that was the first one I knitted. That's what I knitted when the pattern first came out. I knitted it for that following Valentine's Day, and then just a plain one. It was just kind of, it didn't do all the colour work, and I did contrasting yarn for the bands and the neckband. But I'm doing them properly now, and I'm doing them in exactly the colours that Arnie and Carlos are doing, and I'm loving them. And you know what, I must admit, I'm really eager to knit and crochet other things. You know, I just want to do it all, but I'm really determined to get these done, and I'm enjoying it. It doesn't feel like a chore, and I've actually made some good progress on the next one. So I have taken a photograph of the yarn. I'll pop that on the screen for you to see. Yes, and unfortunately I'd started it. I thought, oh gosh, I've not photographed this yarn. So I basically put the ball bands back on, and I just put it there so you can see the start. But I'm a bit further along than that now. I'm here. So yeah, I've made quite a lot of progress. So basically I've done all of the body up until the point you have to stop to do the sleeves, and I have started at the sleeve. So I'm even further along, aren't I, than I was with the one last week when I showed you. I'm using my, do you know my knit minder for my DPNs that I made, the free Lazenby pattern if you sign up to her website, and so it's sticking out like this. I'm working on a sleeve as well, the first sleeve. So what you do is you work the sleeve to a certain point, and then you cast off a few stitches, and you do with the jumper as well, and then you join them all together. Now I am knitting these on double pointed needles. I've been doing that all the way through, apart from this one. When I got to row 13, well, row 13 of the colour work, not counting the rows I've knitted here, I actually switched over to circular knitting, and that was just with a magic loop. That's only because I was having a look through, because another pattern I'm going to knit, I was having a look through what circular needles, fixed circular needles I've got, what length cables, what needle sizes I've got for another project. And I came across this and I thought it's perfect. I know you shouldn't really swap your needles, but I can't notice any different from row 13 up. It doesn't look any different, but tension looks the same, because needle sizes can be a little bit different, but I think they're the same brand of the DPNs I'm using anyway, so you'd expect them to be the same. And yeah, it was a little bit harder knitting with this black yarn. I think it's called Peat. I am repeat. That probably looks kind of white, but it is grey. It's that grey. I can't remember the name of it actually, but I've used it in. I used it in this one, the one I said it looked a bit slithering. That is actually the same grey, but it looks obviously bolder with this peat background colour, doesn't it? Well, anyway, I'm absolutely loving it, honestly. I'm not tiring of it. You maybe as a viewer, hopefully not, but yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. And I don't know, maybe I will use this needle for knitting the bodies going forward. I'm not sure. Now, I might give you a sneaky peek of the next colourway for jumper number 5. Yeah, it's like a blue colour with cream. So, and I've used cream already, so I won't have to get a new ball out. Most of the balls for this, you need 2 of them. But the cappuccino, which I use on that, the golden nugget with the cappuccino, you only need 1 ball of the cappuccino. So yeah, I'll be digging that ball out again. But yeah, I'm having a lovely time with those. So I'll pop that to the side. So kind of finished, kind of work in progress as well. Now, my more knitting. It's my Bow by Petite Knit. Now, I told you this is going to be a slow burner because it's a project I keep in the car. Let me just check the time. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Oh, I've got something cute in here, actually. I'm going to be showing you. So yeah, I've been going round my lovely pink tape measuring, because basically when I get to 50 centimetres, I start doing the decreasing, because you start off with, I'm not wearing the right kind of jumper here, am I? You start off with increasing. It starts off small and gets wider. Can you see that there? And then I've got to measure from tip to work 50 centimetres, and then you start doing the decreasing. Then I've had a look ahead at the pattern. Then I'm going to be knitting like a band, the middle band that goes in the middle of the bow. And then I'm going to be doing all this, like stitching it together and folding and things like that. But what I've started to do is, can you see these little stitch markers, these plastic ones I've got on here? Initially I put a stitch marker on to mark the wrong side of the work. That one I fixed. I put some nice gold hardware on there. I'm marking every 10 centimetres. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40. So that's 40 centimetres long. So yeah, I haven't got much more to get to 50 centimetres. So you never know. I can't say how much of this I'm going to get done, because obviously it's my car project when I'm waiting. And if I don't have to do much waiting. Oh, and a lovely thing is, do you know, sometimes when you do a good deed for someone, you end up getting a good deed come back to you, and that is exactly what's happened to me. Now, do you remember me saying to you, I started dropping my middle son's friend home after college, basically 4 days a week, 'cause that's the days they're there. And basically now his mother is doing a course at the college. So on Mondays, I was having to do like a pickup of my youngest son, and then hang around for an hour, and then pick my middle son up and his friend, and then drop him home and things. Well, basically, I only have to do that now. A funny pickup, because they finish early a couple of days, really early. They have short days, but there was 2 late nights they finish. So the one night now, she brings Declan home, which is really nice. So yes, I'm only dropping his friend home now 3 times a week, and I still have to pick up my youngest son earlier, but then I don't have to hang around now on one of those evenings. So, but that means that's not some waiting time now that I lost. But I'm at home and it's lovely, and I can get dinner started and things. So that's how it's going with my my bow, the December bow by Petite Knit. So now I'm going to talk about a yarn delivery I've got here. Before I go on to some sewing and crochet, and it's arrived today. Ta-da! Now it does look more purpley colour to me. I wanted to knit myself a pink jumper. Does it look pink? In this light it doesn't. It looks lavender. It was called pink. What's it called? It's 100% wool. It is Drops Charisma Superwash Treated Wool Classic, and I know it's DK weight. It doesn't actually tell you. It's colour 66, but it definitely had, I think it had dusky pink or something. I don't know if it doesn't look pink because it's next to this peachy pink. But yeah, it doesn't look pink, does it? My lipstick's pink. Yeah, it's not pink. It's my pink or pink. Well, not to my eye. I don't know what it looks like to you. Like looking at that, it doesn't look pink to me. It doesn't look pink on there, but it might change it by the time it comes through to your screen. It might look different again. Do you know what I'm saying? It depends what your settings are like on your TV and things. But yeah, it looks light purple. So I'm getting a light purple jumper, which I wasn't expecting. And what I'm going to be knitting now, this is a gorgeous jumper. I have purchased this pattern for £7 from Ravelry, and it is the Whitmore sweater or jumper, as we say in England, by Amy Loudon, thetailorsstudio.com. Now, I've not knitted anything by Amy before. She did put a shout out about being a pattern tester for another jumper. You can't really see that. I'll try and get a photograph to put up on the screen of that jumper, because it looks too glary for you to see the detail. But yeah, I didn't get accepted, unfortunately. Apparently the smaller sizes, they got whipped up pretty quickly, so yeah, so I didn't get the opportunity, but I'm going to be knitting this jumper. Now, it does look a little bit long for my tastes. I think I'd want it a bit shorter like this, but you know, you just do it as, I think it's a knit. You start at the collar and you knit down, so you just go to however long you want the jumper to be, don't you? Now, you may be surprised, I've never knitted a jumper for myself. I've knitted many a jumper. I've knitted many egg cosy things, you know, animal things, you know, like toys. I've crocheted myself a cardigan. I've knitted and crocheted hats, scarves, cowls, you know, things like that. But I've never actually knitted myself a jumper. Now, I think what it is, I wanted to really knit a Harry Potter cardigan, and it was during COVID, and I really wanted to knit the Gryffindor one, and I was worried about getting the right colour yarn and thing online. So then I left it, but now if I did want to probably do Ravenclaw, because I've actually been online and I did the sorting hat, and the sorting hat put me in Ravenclaw, and now I've made the whole Ravenclaw outfit, haven't I? I've got the tie, I've made the Ravenclaw cloak with the badge on. on Ravenclaw basically. So yeah, so oh, actually that reminds me, I've got this Ravenclaw fabric. Now I've bought this fabric in because, well, I'll tell you in a moment. I'll lead to that actually. So basically, yeah, the reason I've chose this Drops Charisma yarn is because the lovely Jules Hill has made the Whitmore. She's very good friends, I think, with Amy. Jules Hill designs the socks I've knitted. I've knitted the St Nicholas socks and the Mabel socks, but I did them in a Christmas theme. She's the designer of those. She's friends with Amy Loudon, and who designs this sweater, and she's knitted the jumper for herself, and then she wanted to knit one for her daughter, but she said she wanted to knit it in something that her daughter wouldn't have to take too much care over. She could throw it in the wash and things like that, and she said, like, you know, if you go with a yarn for local yarn dyers, it'd be a bit more expensive. So that she said she was going to knit it in this yarn basically, not this colour. Actually the one she knitted for, I think, for a daughter was purple, but a much deeper purple. But yeah, I haven't seen it yet, one made up, I don't think, for a daughter. But anyway, so yes, I'm going to be knitting that sweater in that colour, and I had to order some needles, and that was from the Wool Warehouse as well, and I've had to order some needles. I think they're all in here. But yeah, they're packaged up quite well. I'll show you those next time because I've got to go in about 10 minutes. So yes, I better crack on. If I don't get this video finished, I will, like, you know, pause it and I'll continue it another time. But I just obviously won't be able to edit tonight and get it to you today. We'll just see what happens. So that is that. So now I've pre-ordered a crochet book, and it is called Alexander's Garden Flowers, and I'll pop a photograph on the screen. Now I've pre-ordered this directly from Toft because I love it basically, and you've seen these before. I'll just grab them. I have crocheted these lovely little flower monsters. Now I accidentally called this one a buttercup monster in one of my previous videos. She's a daffodil, he or she's a daffodil, and I've got the daisy monster, and they're lovely, aren't they? So basically, I sit them in some little candle pots. A friend of mine used to sell candles, and she bought me that when it was like part of her company, and it's 3 little pots, and I need another one. So yes, I'm going to basically, I'm thinking of doing, I have looked at the, I can't remember which flower I was looking at now. I'm kicking myself here. It's a silly name, I should know, but yeah, it's gone out of my head. I wanted to do another one, a tulip, but I'm not as keen on the tulip face, really. So I'm going to crochet a rose out of that book, hopefully. You can't buy the rose as a kit or pattern at the moment. You have to spend about 70 something pound to buy a kit to make 3 different flowers if you want the rose at the moment, so I believe. But the rose is going to be in there, so I'm so excited. I'm going, and it's not the only crochet I'm going to be doing Toff this year, and I have made the miniature monsters. You can actually do the mini rose on its own, but I want one this size, so yeah, I'm waiting for the book, and then I'll try, and I might do the rose this colour body actually. Yeah, and then I have 3 sitting in a pot then, and that'll be lovely, won't it? So, and that's it. I've got my little Freya the frog that I knitted, the pattern by Dot Pebbles. I've been dying to bring her back, actually, good excuse. Now, Toft has started selling wire that they think is suitable for her crochet toys. So I've ordered a few bits of it, and I'm actually, she inserts the wire after she's made it. I would normally knit limbs and then put the wire in and then attach them, but she just puts them in after. So my little Freya might be getting wired up, so she might be getting a bit more expressive, you know, with her newfound flexibility and stuff, you know. So, and I might even put some in some of my other knitted things to give them, you know, a bit of bendability and things. So, right, now, Arnie and Carlos, I hope I get this video up to you quickly. They've got a sale at the moment, this for a couple of days, where it's 60% off their patterns online. And I bought 2 last night and I've downloaded them. And surprise, surprise, one is to make a hat. It's a Magnus Mouse hat pattern, and I'm afraid I might have that already in a book. I probably have, but I've paid about £3 for it. And if it helps, I'm not saying I am wealthy, but if it helps them, it's helping them, isn't it? We all help each other. So anyway, and I have got their knitted eggs in a book. I've got another pattern, but this is another pattern, one I haven't got, and I really like that mushroom. So yes, I've got another pattern of theirs, which is great. Now I want to show you something from my childhood. Now I don't know if these belong to somebody else and they gave them to me when I was a little girl, but they were always in my life. They didn't come with me when I left home, but now they're with me and I've had them for quite some time, and they've been in my underwear drawer. And this is where they always were when I was a little girl. Maybe this is where my love of mice came from. They're lavender bags. And aren't they lovely? Now, I will photograph these and I'll put them in at the end of the video and things. But yeah, these are like very, very old. They're definitely as old as, you know, if I had them in the 80s. I was born in 1980. So yes, I've had them since I was a teeny weeny girl. I don't know if they belong to someone else, as I say, and then they ended up with me. But I've tried to find out, you know, these online and I can't find them. So yeah, I feel really blessed I have something from my childhood. I've got quite a few things from my childhood, but yeah, I feel blessed to have these, especially with my little mouse adventure that's been going on. And I recently showed you other mice that I've made, and actually I've made more than that. I've done needle felted ones, I've gifted one, I've done more knitted ones, I've done loads basically. I definitely love mice. Oh yes, I was going to tell you about Ravenclaw. I've got this Ravenclaw fabric left over from some fat quarters. I'm going to do myself a knitted and crochet project bag for my Harry Potter knitting, and I've actually cut out all the Ravenclaw pieces. I just need a contrast fabric to actually continue with that project. So right, and now I've made some really, really sweet things. Now, in a previous video, I couldn't show you this cover because it didn't print. And then when I looked at the pattern, it hadn't all printed, so I had to reprint it, and luckily this time it reprinted properly. And it's to make a little basket for my little animals. Like, there's a cat in this one, and I've basically gone on. Now, you've seen these patterns before. They're by Sweetbriar. I made a headband, the teeny weeny headband before, and I showed you this, a back carrier. Now, and I said to you, I don't know what size these animals are, but I'm just going to make the items and see what happens. So here's my mouse suitcase with all kinds of loveliness in here. They all are. So I have gone on to make a basket, and here it is. Now I will pop some photographs up on the screen and I'll do a video at the very end of this, but I'll just get the babies out. That is it, and it's lovely, isn't it? Like a little bassinet. And the babies fit in there, lovely. I can even just put one in there like that. Now, actually, Sandy said to me in the comments, she really appreciates me putting the photographs that I post on Instagram up, because she said sometimes it's quite hard for you to see things I'm holding. So I will pop photographs up. I'll put the little boy in here as well, on his own. But I can fit both of them in there, and they're lovely. They can carry it around. So there's somewhere for the babies to go now. And Mummy Mouse. Now, Mummy Mouse has got Liberty ears, hasn't she? She's the only one who's been blessed with Liberty ears. But now she has a Liberty skirt. It's not the same fabric, it's a different fabric, but it's really, really lovely. And it's actually the skirt pattern from the other mouse. Do you know this mouse? This is the Laura Jean Dolls mouse. Now that is the headscarf from the Sweet Briar, but the dress is actually from the same designer, the Laura Jean Dolls they're called. So I've got the mouse pattern, which I've just showed you the mouse, this one. And I'll pop a photograph on the screen. And the clothes, I've been making some of the clothes from it as well. Well, this skirt is from that pattern, but this is a different mouse. This mouse is the Little Arkington. I've showed you all these before, Little Arkington. They're all on Etsy. So Laura Jean Dolls mice are on Etsy, and they've got clothes. And then if you want different sizes, you have to resize them yourself. Little Arkington does all different sizes, but they don't have any clothes. So this is why I went on a bit of a venture. Right, so yeah, so she's got this little skirt now. I think I might have lengthened it a little bit, maybe a centimetre. And now, do you know that other pattern I showed you? And it's Mari Loves Linen mice. Now, I still haven't made these mice. Now, I had a look at the pattern and they come with clothes, but I just decided to make the dress, but there was no instructions. And I messaged the designer and said, do you have to leave a seam allowance with these patterns? And she said, yes, you do, because you do with the mice. Because they're not added on to the pattern, you have to add it yourself. And she said, actually, would you like some instructions? They're for another pattern, but I think you'll find them useful. So she actually emailed them to me. So it's the patterns to make for this larger doll, but the construction is very similar. So I went on and made a dress. I've not made the mouse yet, but I've dressed up another mouse. And here we go. So this is the little Effie Things mouse. These ones, because I've made two of them. With the with ticking body. And this is a dress by the other designer, the Mari Loves Linen. Now I'll pop some photographs of the dress on the screen. Now, this wasn't my first attempt. I didn't have enough of this spotty fabric to make a big gathered skirt. So actually, I'll see if I pop a photograph on the screen that I've taken. And yes, and that is what it looked like. I've put it on a little dress form. That's what it looked like, and I didn't like it, but I didn't have enough. But it turns out I have another spotty fabric. Now, it's a slightly different shade of pink, and the spots are smaller, but you can hardly notice it, can you? So, and I think that looks so much better than how it looks. So I basically picked off that. What it is, it seemed like too much effort just to cast it aside, because this is lined, this dress. And I haven't put any fastenings. Even the skirt is lined. But she lines them with like Violin or something, iron-on Violin, but I've just lined them with fabric. And yeah, and they look lovely, don't they? They're really, really sweet. So they've all got some clothes now, apart from this one, but this one's got a built-in bit of clothing. So yeah, I just thought before I make any more animals or mice or anything, I just needed to clothe some of them. So I don't know what I'm going to be sewing between this video and my next sewing video, well, Stitch Diary video. I'm not entirely sure. It all depends on supplies and things like that. Yeah, and I'll just crack on with other things, so you'll just see what you're going to see, basically. I don't know myself, I just see what I can get done. Right, I am sorry for the rather abrupt change in location, but it's now actually evening time. I had to bring the video to a rather sudden end because I had to dash off, and it is now 10 to 8 in the evening, and the reason I'm getting to film is because my husband is out playing tennis, intermediate tennis. All the tennis things he's gone to since joining this gym I've attended, but I didn't fancy intermediate. I thought, no, I'm going to stick with just playing each other and something more beginner. Yeah, so, but anyway, I'm going to get back onto craft. Maybe I'll speak about my new gym and the new things I've been doing there another time, but I think this video is getting rather long. I'm sitting here eating a satsuma actually. I'll save it. I'll have a nice cuppa when my husband gets home and something nice. But yeah, I'm thought I'd finish this video off with a bit more relaxed. And please excuse the plastic bag. There is a reason I'm going to be getting things out. Now, I recorded a little bit of my local town. It's probably about 5 seconds long or something, 10 at the most, of some Valentine. It was a Pandora shop and a little photo opportunity in the Touchwood shopping centre, because it's actually Valentine's Day next week. So we're the 10th, aren't we? So Valentine's Day is the 14th. So I've got all the goodies I've bought for my husband here, and what I'm going to make for him, because I'm going to do baking for him this year. So I bought him a card, but that's downstairs, so yeah, you're not going to get to see that. Actually, I've got my knitting here. I'm knitting a sleeve. Do you know what I was showing you this morning? Yeah, I've made a bit more progress on it. I'm on, I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 or 5 more colour work rows, and then you kind of do a little bit, and then I'll be working on the other sleeve. So yeah, that's rather exciting, isn't it? So I'll definitely have another one ready for you next week, and maybe a good bit of progress on the blue one I was showing you. So yeah, there's a couple of things I wanted to speak about. Now, it's basically about you at home, and Sharon commented on one of my videos, said she can't get the little mice from the clangers out of her head, and I kind of know the, is it the clangers? It might be the clangers in Bagpuss, basically the mice in Bagpuss, basically. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. The clangers something else, but yeah, I know about Bagpuss, but it wasn't one of the ones that really stick out from my childhood, so I don't know it all that well. I think Buttermoon was more my time, and Morph, the Plasticine Man and things, and Super Ted and Banana Man and things like that, and Thundercats and Inspector Gadget and things like that, you know. So so anyway, and He-Man. But so I had a look, and yeah, it does ring a bell, and it's so lovely, Sharon. I had a look, and there's some lovely little songs that the mice sing about washing and mending, and I was sent off on YouTube then, down a little rabbit hole, checking the little mice out from Bagpuss, and then what else was I looking up? Now, Helen has also contacted me, and she was saying that she wants to make some little mice as well, and she basically remembers going into her words, a posh lighting shop when she was a little girl, and they had, like, I think they were kind of like lamps, toadstool lamps, and inside them there were all little mice doing household chores, and yeah, and she has a fond memory of it, and she wants to make some little mice. So yeah, that's great, Helen. It's really lovely to hear that. And who else has contacted me? Lindsay contacted me, and she was on about that there are 4 episodes of Bramley Hedge mice on YouTube. So Lindsay, I've gone off and I found out which one was first, and the first one to air, they're basically based off books in the 80s, and the first one that aired was in 96 or 97, and it was aired at Christmas time. So I watched the first episode, but I didn't really know who the characters were or anything. So I've done a bit of I've been a bit of a geek, and I've swatted up on the names of the characters from Bramley Hedge, and I'm sure I had a Bramley Hedge book, Lindsay, when I was a little girl. Well, anyway, I've gone off and I've ordered a book, and it's called the Complete Series. So it will have the spring, autumn, winter and summer stories, Poppy's Babies, and a couple of other ones all in one. It is a used book, but it said it was in good condition, so that's coming in February, so I'm going to read it. So Lindsay, I've only watched the winter story because that was the first one that aired, but I'm not going to watch them now until I've read the books. books. So I'm going to read a book and watch an episode, read a book, watch an episode. And I've got about 1 or 2 minutes left of The Borrowers. I've been reading The Borrowers on Audible. And I've got about, well, I did get to the end, but I got a bit distracted because that's what can happen. So I've rewound it a little bit. So I've just got the very end bit to listen to. And I've got the film saved on my hard drive. So I'm going to try and watch that this weekend if I can. I don't know how good the film is, The Borrowers, but I've really, really enjoyed the book. Even though it is aimed for children, it's been really fun. So I think that's what I'm going to do a bit more of. If I read books, I'm going to try and read books that I know there's been something that's been on TV or a film or something that I can watch after and watch the book come to life. I know they don't always do them justice, but it's still nice, isn't it? So thank you so much for that, Lindsay. I actually watched that Bramley Hedge this morning, and I've actually ordered the book, and it's not the only book I ordered secondhand. It's actually a pattern book to make some of the mice. So I don't know if I'll end up making these mice, or, you know, maybe I'll make the clothes. I don't know what size they are, but it's to make a few of the characters from Bramley Hedge. And I found out that Bramley Hedge have got an Instagram page. Maybe they've got a Facebook, I don't know. And yeah, I'm going to try and get their calendar. They're out of stock at the moment, and I know that we're already a little bit into the year, but yeah, I'd really like it. Yeah, I'm gonna list. I've obviously realised I've been a bit mouse crazy probably all of my life, but I didn't realise to what degree until I've thought about all the mice that I've made. And I'm on the lookout for some really nice mice fabric now. There's quite a few out there, but I'm quite fussy in what mouse fabric I'd like. So yeah, I'm on a little bit of a hunt, because yes, I think I need a project bag, you know, for my knitting and crocheting and embroidery and things. Actually, on about embroidery bag, now Mary Angela, I always go on about the knitting bag that you made for me that I use all the time, and I don't give you other bag a mention all that much. I've got the embroidery bag that you made for me here. And yeah, I do keep it at the side of my bed with some little embroidery projects in there that you put in there for me, and the little hoop and things. And I will make those in time. I haven't forgotten about them. And I've just been keeping it in here. This is a bag, a knitting bag I made. It's a bucket bag. And it's got all pockets all the way around in a nice fabric from the Cotton Patch. And I just tend to keep you know, like stitch markers and things, progress keepers at the side of my bed. I've got a ruler, tape measure, a notebook. Oh, actually, this notebook is gorgeous. That's a thing with magazines. I bought an Inside Crochet magazine once, mainly for the book, and it says so much yarn, so little time, and it's lovely, isn't it? And yeah, and it's good for like when you like, you know, marking things off and stuff. So and I've got a little bag here where I've been trying to collect my ball bands. You know, I keep telling you I keep losing my ball bands. Well, it's because half of them are in here. Sometimes I'm so tidy I forget where I've tidied them to. Yes, this is at the side of my bed, along with other things, stuffing. This is a bag I made many years ago, and I keep toy filling in it at the side of my bed, because we don't have the living room at the moment because of obviously the renovation. So this is like my living room as well as my bedroom at the moment. So that is those things. Now, if there's time, quickly, now I will put a video on at the very end of the things I've showed you today. And last week I did forget to put the sausage dog in at the end, and I had spoken about it in that video, so I'm sorry about that. So maybe I'll include that in the video that ends this one. But here's all the things I've bought for my husband for Valentine's Day, and I'm going to go through them really quickly. I got him some socks from Lidl, a 3-pack, and they've got pugs with little heart-shaped roses on, and this one has got lips all over it, and this one has got love you on it. Now this is from Lidl. Now, I don't know if I'm going to present him with this or just use it and cook from it on the day, but it's a heart waffle maker, and that was from Lidl as well. I have got a waffle maker, and I might even have a heart shaped one, but it was really skinny and I wasn't too keen. But this is just makes an individual one, and I looked at it and they look a bit thicker. I don't know if there's any recipes, but how cool, there's a pink one. I would like to make a pink one for Valentine's Day. That'll be lovely. So that's some Valentine's Day cooking I'll be able to do. I've always got marshmallows in because we have them on our hot chocolate, but I've got some heart-shaped ones, and those are from Lidl as well. I've not been really shopping in Lidl, but I went in there one time and this is what I ended up coming out with. It's because I had to shop there. It was right by the gym actually, so yeah, I ended up in there. It was either there or Marks's, and I thought Lidl may be a bit cheaper. And from Lidl I got in these heart chocolates. Actually, I got 2 sets of heart chocolates. I picked these up first, melt my heart. But what I thought I might do is I might give some of these to my boys as well. I will make them heart waffles and I'll give them heart chocolates. So yeah, because I love them as well, you know, not just my husband. I know it's more of a romantic thing, but yeah, you can have galentines. There's a thing called galentines now where you gift to your friends and things. And I thought these were fabulous. And it's pasta, dried pasta, and it says you melt my heart, love pasta, and it's made in Italy. And look, it's lovely. Now I don't know what my boys will think about it, because I've tried to give them green pasta before, and they just didn't like it. But they were very small, and I think it was just a bit off-putting. But the green you get in it is actually from spinach, so it's something healthy. Now this is a little bit of the baking that I was on about. Now I might actually do this with my boys, and we'll all get to eat it. And it's a I love you giant cookie. Now we did one for Santa, didn't we? A Santa cookie at Christmas. That was from Aldi. This is from Lidl, but it does look like the same kind of thing. And you just have to add some butter, some water, and some semi-skimmed milk. And those are things I always have in, usually, unless everybody's used them. But yes, so we're going to be doing a bit of that. And the final thing is something edible. And it's a chocolate chip heart brioche. And I thought that looks absolutely fabulous. I did check all the dates on these. So I think my husband, he hasn't had an actual handmade gift. I haven't sewn him anything knitted or crochet this year. It's all been this kind of thing, but I think he's going to like this thing, and he's not going to be left with too much tat. Once obviously the cookie's been eaten, the chocolates are being eaten, the pasta, the marshmallows, and the brioche, all he's going to be left with in our home, to clutter up our home even more, is this. But this is fab, isn't it? And the socks, and who doesn't love a pair of socks or two? So yeah, he's not going to be left with a load of junk sometimes, and then he feels all sentimental to keep it and thinks, where am I going to put these things? So yeah, so that's what I've got for him. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me in my video so far. I'm basically going to leave you with a little video of like the things, some of the things I've included. Sometimes they're not all in the end, but I'll try and include as many as I can, you know, that I can sort out. And so I hope you've like seen, you know, the Patreons I've been involved in. And actually, since I've edited that bit of video that I did this morning, and I've got on it, and I don't think my Patreon renews on my Effie little things, because I looked really limited. I couldn't look at the things. I tried to get photographs for you to share, and I couldn't find them, so I've had to find her on Instagram and get some pictures there. But she does a lot of reels, so it was really hard. So sometimes I've had to like screenshot a reel. You would not know what I've been through to share photographs with you on that section of video this evening. So you're going to get this video rather late with everything that's gone on. But I hope there's been something you've enjoyed seeing, whether it's something I've sewn and knitted, my future crochet things I'm going to be doing. But yeah, I hope there's something. So thank you so much for joining me this time. And oh, I sound a bit like Alan Partridge, you know, this time. Thank you for joining me this time, and I'll see you next time. Bye.